my colleague Leslie Kane, a great UFO writer, investigative reporter, came to me with a story about some information she had dug up in Washington about a secret UFO unit operating in the Pentagon, which was not known at all that they were doing that. They were supposedly out of the UFO business since Project Blue Book at the end of 1969. She said, there's a good story here that there's a secret Pentagon office investigating UFOs. We got 3 videos, Navy videos of encounters with Navy jets. So, I'm sure I was interested. We brought that story to the New York Times. I still had a lot of contacts there. I was off the staff since 2009, but we talked to the editors. We had the story cold. I mean, all the interviews, everything on the record, no, anonymous sources. And so that was our big story in December 2017, that there was a secret UFO unit in the Pentagon. And then we followed that up with a few other stories. But that's really how I got into it.
I definitely want to dive into that in a little bit because, again, that's almost what started kind of the snowball effect here. But in general, walking into the office that day, knowing that you're going to be talking about this explosive report about, this hidden kind of Pentagon UFO research center, something that if it wasn't a true story, everyone wouldn't believe it in the first place. How did it feel to do that shift from, as you were saying, you were covering mafia mob bosses, you were talking about political corruption, all these other topics, to shift and in that moment be taking on something so groundbreaking and yet, as I said before, kind of taboo?
Well, first of all, we didn't know how groundbreaking it was going to be at that point. We looked at it as another story. I mean, after a long career in the news business, you sort of get a feel for what is newsworthy. And the fact that there was, the government's official line was that it was out of the UFO business. There was nothing to it. I mean, it was all mental aberration. These people were mentally ill who reported sightings, all that kind of stuff. There were a lot of disinformation, misinformation. So to find out that the Pentagon really was studying UFOs and they had actually taken videos of some close encounters. So that was a story, I mean, in anybody's book. And it really didn't take much to interest the New York Times. We laid it out. I sent an email to the top editor. And he said, gave the green light. And then we met with another editor who came up from Washington to the New York Times in New York, and we laid it out for him. And then he got the Washington bureau involved. And the third member of our group was Helene Cooper, who covers the Pentagon defense issues, because we needed somebody who had good access to the Defense Department, because we needed to get, reaction from them. So we didn't realize really till the story came out in December 2017 how big it was going to get. We just sort of did what reporters do, one step at a time. And then the Times put the story out on the front page on a Sunday, which added to its impact. And it was a bombshell. I mean, other papers picked it up quickly, but I didn't get the sense as I was doing it that this is going to be historic.
What was the moment that you realized that it had become a public sensation and something that, in a lot of ways, has really changed the level of discourse about UFOs and UAPs in the U.S. and the world in general?
Yeah, well, the hits just kept on coming, as they say. Nowadays you can judge the impact of a story. Unlike when I started in journalism, in the typewriter era, everything is, instantaneous in the internet era. So we could see right away that we put out 3 videos that we had gotten access to, showing encounters with 3 objects that were very puzzling. And you could hear the Navy pilots and sailors on a ship, exclaiming about the amazing mysterious quality of these objects that you could see pretty clearly, like skipping over the waves and up in the sky like a gyroscope. So those videos were among the I think the most watched ever in the history of the New York Times. So you can track, eyeballs now. So we knew that a tremendous number of people were tuning in. And of course, it was all over the other media. We were invited on a lot of shows to talk about it. So we realized pretty quickly that this had hit a nerve. I mean, everyone was interested.